know about Senator Swan?
What the hell you got into? How much does Parker know about this? Too much.
Well, I have a great team. I have a company called Untitled Management I've been working with for about 10 years. They set up a meeting. There was some interest from the director to meet with me. Her name is Molly Surya. Very talented lady, and she couldn't be sweeter. She's from Indonesia. She directed a film called Marlena the Murderer in 4 acts, which I watched before our meeting, and it was really impressive. I mean, it was like her Kill Bill, and a beautiful film, and visually beautiful and poetic, and really interesting film. So I met with Molly, and I talked to her, and I did this with David Gordon Green too on Halloween Kills, or in some projects I like to meet the filmmaker or creator and just kind of see what the vibe is. So I asked her about her vision for the film and what she wanted to accomplish, and and just talked about it in broad strokes. And yeah, and then she just asked me to come on board, and I was really excited. I didn't have to actually screen test or anything, so I'm used to that after all these years. So it was really nice. It was a great experience. Also, one thing I like to point out, just the sense of adventure. It was really fun. All of a sudden you're getting a call, and then you're going to Santa Fe. That's never, it hadn't been a place I'd been to, so it was fun to go to Santa Fe and make the movie, and we had a great crew. And then there's the element and the inclusion of Thunder Road, and they're a really top-notch company. They did all the John Wick series, and so they were able to really implement and put us, with the 8711, which is like the top-notch stunt team, as you probably read about, and they're really fantastic. They really did a great job. An interesting thing to note too, it was sort of a super group of great women in charge on this. We have Erica and Esther at Thunder Road producing with Jessica. And we had Molly directing, and we had a female cinematographer. So it was really great to work with a bunch of really strong, on top of it, professional ladies that really know their stuff. So that was an interesting dynamic. And also doing a film with action at this level was cool. It was new for me to, because again, I have great respect for what Keanu did with that franchise. And so it was really cool. All the elements were there. It was a good project. I had fun with it. Like Marlena the Murderer in 4 acts, it's it's also sort of a female-driven revenge thriller, I think there's also shades of an old Western in there too, because it's very kind of good versus evil, and I love that. Even when I did The Dark Knight, those are stark realities that people can relate to, whether it's comic books or comic book films or what have you. So it was really a cool project, for all these reasons. And what I did with the character Senator Swan, I just wanted to give it a little bit of like a kind of nondescript Southern background. But it's interesting, when you get on a set, one of the first meetings I had was with the costume designer, and she was really great. She had pulled for the vision board for my character all these pictures of like Ted Turner from the 80s. And there's this sense of like wealthy guys that choose to live in the Southwest of America that aren't necessarily cowboys, but kind of live that life, So that gave me a lot too, just the wardrobe and the stuff that I was wearing. And then I kind of just work on my voice and texture it and lower it and do little things like that. But it's also interesting too, because you're always meeting the actors on screen in a way. I didn't really know Jessica or spend time with her, and Mark and I hit it off really nicely. He plays my son in it. And it's also funny too, like when you get on the set and suddenly like you have 2 grown men playing your sons, I'm like, oh shit, I guess I'm 56 now. Okay, I can do this. But that was great. But we had a really good cast, Mark Webber, Jake Weary, Tone Bell, Jessica was great. So, and I think audiences will really dig it. There's a scene later in the film, it's great that you point that out, because we were watching it. Netflix was kind enough to host a nice screening, cast and crew screening. It was at their headquarters, and they have a beautiful theater there. And it was a couple weeks ago. But we're like more than halfway through the film, and there's a scene with Jessica and I where we're talking and about the Latinx and that whole thing. But my first line in that scene, I come off like such an ass. But when we were doing it, I didn't think it was funny. When we watched the film, the audience was laughing, I was laughing, and my wife was laughing. And the first line is something like, everybody in my town knows I'm not a racist. I mean, like, what I mean? When someone says something so stupid, they're clearly like putting their foot in their mouth and at the same time telling you more than you need to know about them, right? Even if they're denying something, right? So it's funny, it was really cool. So that was like a happy surprise, because when I did that scene, like, first of all, we were shooting it probably at 2 or 3 in the morning, and Jessica and I were just, playing it cool and doing our thing, but I didn't see any humor in that, And then we were at the screen, and I'm going, that's really funny. That really tells you a lot about the character, There's a great saying, it's actually one of my favorites. I don't know if it was Emerson or one great writer, but the line is, what you do speaks so loudly I can barely hear a word you're saying, And so in film and in life, when you see things, things will speak to you, So I thought that was kind of fun about that character. It was a nice surprise for me that he he's worth maligning. You know, he's worth like going, okay, this guy's like a little bit sketchy, you know. And so, but it's fun. It's fun playing bad guys. It really is. When I was growing up, my favorite actors were like Jack Nicholson and Christopher Walken, I mean, among others. And I always loved how they played bad guys, you know. And also to try to insert some humor, some brevity into it too. So, but this was a lot of fun. It was a really great project. The last time I worked with Netflix, I did a film I'm very proud of. It was called War Machine with Mr. Brad Pitt. And it was a really great project. It was back almost 10 years ago when they were just starting to make films at Netflix. So I'm proud to be working with them again. Yeah, it feels good. In the film, played by Mark Webber and Jake Weir, are Elvis and Jesse. And for most of the film, you just think one of them is complicit, and then you realize the whole family is, you know, and I think that's interesting. That was an instance, too. We did a scene in the film where they almost come to blows, my two sons, and we're in my office. And it was a very interesting thing for me watching Molly work when rehearsing that scene, and we were on set. Because what she was partly calibrating and adjusting was how far did they take it. And in the way she shot it, it was like a 50-50 with the two brothers, and I'm sitting at the table behind them. But there's also the sense you get from my character in the film that this is the kind of guy that would pit his sons against each other, you know what I mean? But it was a great instance where I really saw Molly's abilities come to life, because she's such a sweet lady and so unassuming and kind. But when she gets to work, she's right on it. So she was really great and very upfront about her adjustments if she wanted something changed. And then I also, you know, I loved her dynamic because one of the things I do when I work on a project is I study how the director and the DP are working together. And there was a great lady named Zoe White who shot The Handmaid's Tale. I mean, excellent cinematographer. And they were just like fully in sync. I could see that they were just, you know, just really working well in tandem. And that's really impressive to see. So again, it was like a super group of ladies leading the charge on this movie. It was really cool to be a part of that, you know, just to sit back and go, all right, know thy role and play your position, you know, it's cool.